Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Child of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes, and today we are recapping Wheel of Time, Season 2, Episode 6. This is Eyes Without Pity. This is actually based on one of my absolute favorite chapters. It's not in this show, but I will talk about that with my co host, and I'm going to bring him in now. He's the Marshland Monster, and you know him from MLMpod.com and all his mini podcasts. It's James. Ahoy there, James.
Chips ahoy and find water and shade because you're out in that desert area.
No, it's pretty chill over here.
I'm saying it because in the map area, if you were where it was in the map, you'd be in the desert area maybe.
I'd be up there right next to the Aiel, and that's actually right where I wanted to start, James. Thanks for bringing me into it. I have two corrections like right up front that I really have to get out of the way.
Is the first one that, that I don't know Michigan?
Well, okay, first off, I wanted to say about the Aiel. I was wrong about the Aiel, James. We recorded last week. That episode hasn't dropped yet, so I haven't gotten any feedback, but I'm expecting some feedback of people making fun of me because all Aiel are warriors. They're all geared up to war and they're all trained for war. They're not all full-time warriors like the fair Maes Dai, like Avienda, but every single one of them are tough. Every single one of them can fight. So I was wrong about that last week.
Like in wrestling, even the managers know how to scrap down.
That's right. That's right. You won't see them in the ring, but they can do it. Exactly.
Yeah. Paul Bearer, he knows how to do a DDT, so you better not mess with him if you go back 40 years ago.
I won't. And the other thing I had to talk about, yes, James, it is regarding the Mitten State. So about 3 episodes back, you chastised me for not knowing what the Mitten State was. And even after looking at a map of the United States, I still wasn't clear. And see, I was thinking this. I mean, you chastised me pretty hard. That's fine. It was funny. I was thinking, though, in my defense, okay, here's what I was thinking. James is from Michigan.
Yes.
So, of course, he knows all these goofy things about Michigan and like what'd you say? It was like the Mitten murder rap capital. I don't know anything about that.
It's people call it in rap music the murder mitten, and I thought maybe you're big into this scene in the early 2000s, as I've seen and heard about your rap group. Remember that, listeners, from back in season 1?
Oh, Trouble Posse was an 80s rap group, not a 2000s rap group. So
wait, back in the 80s you were rapping?
Heck yes. I was born in 1972, so you know.
Yeah, but I thought you were into Gwar back then, but still.
I was into everything, man. I'm a well-versed, well-traveled man, but here we go.
But you don't know about the Mitten, okay.
Well, I know a lot of facts. I know a lot of facts about Virginia. That's the thing. I was like, there's probably the stuff about Virginia James doesn't know, so I chalked it up as a regionalism thing. So what I did is I took that theory to the streets, and I interrogated a bunch of people, a wide range of people, very diverse group in age and gender.
If you ask someone named Melissa and someone named Hopper, I'm going to be pissed.
I asked actual human beings who were like let's see, the youngest human I asked was 17. That was Charlotte. And I think the oldest human I asked was in their late 70s. 100% of the people I asked either right away knew what the Mitten State was, or all I had to do was say, what state is shaped like a mitten? And they would automatically say Michigan. And then I would automatically hang my head and say, I got to find somebody who's on my side. No one is on my side, James.
Yes.
I stand alone. But I wanted to say in my defense, and my other co-host, Lindsay, came to my defense with this as well, because she said this before I said this. When you look at Michigan, I think of Michigan, and so does she, as the Great Lakes state. That's how I learned it. Like Heather learned it because mitten sounds like Michigan, and when little kids are learning their states, it's easy to show them Michigan and say it's shaped like a mitten, and kids remember that. I look at the Great Lakes and I look at the lakes coming down. I don't see the land. So even
Wow.
when I was looking at the maps, I didn't even notice Michigan. I was looking at the lakes.
You
You know,
see
like
what
what.
you
Mhm.
see what's on the outside, not what's on the inside.
Oh, I was going to say that I see, I'm a waterman, so I see what's on the water, and you're a landlubber, so you see all this land, I suppose.
I've never not lived in a beach town, sir.
Chicago, the famous beach town.
It's a beach town. We have beaches here, okay? And Muskegon, if you ask people,
Yes.
it's not a beach town, but then they're like, "Oh yeah, you want to know we go to the beach all the time?" But that's oh man, I hate Muskegon sucks. Put the stuff closer to the beach, you idiots.
Well, yes, I shamed myself. You shamed me last week. I shamed myself asking all these people. So, James, you're correct about the Mitten State. It's well known. But for right now, let's see. We wanted to get into our Wheel of Time talk because that's enough of that. We got some reviews this week for episode 6, not in general, but what I wanted to say is remember I talked last week about Narg, the Trolloc who I follow, and he, usually has intelligent things to say about these episodes, even if he doesn't like them. He liked this episode. He said this was the most Wheel of Time episode he's ever seen. And when I looked at all of the reviews, that is what I'm seeing. This is the most Wheel of Time episode that has been out.
I saw one review say, "Hey, season 1, I gave a scathing review towards it, but boy, this episode is the most Wheel of Time we've ever seen." A lot of reviews saying that, so much so, right now, this is the highest rated episode with a 9 out of 10 on IMDb.
I saw that yesterday as well, and I was like, wow, this is on top with good reason. One critic, not a commenter on Reddit, this is a critic, said this is the best hour of TV that she has seen since Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I guess I don't want to watch Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad because this was tough to get through. I love the episode, but boy, oh boy, when you see a woman just being beaten over and over again, that's when people start saying, "Let's give these fuckers an Emmy."
I mean, yeah, great TV is not always pleasant TV. It's a fact. But yeah, I'm ready to get right into the recap if you are, James.
Well, real quick, there's one
Well,
person who didn't like this episode too much.
who?
It was Infinite Tyler yet
Oh,
again.
I thought you were going to say Nicole, but Infinite
No,
Tyler. Okay.
Nicole, I think, watched a little bit. She did say, "Hey, what did Steve think of my silly agent or whatever?" I was like, he enjoyed that run on that you did.
The ideal. I'm an ideal.
Oh man, she's been doing that nonstop now. Oh, and if anyone wants to hear that clip,
Mhm.
it's on my TikTok. Just scroll down to one of the Spider-Man Mostly Speaking Sentai. You can hear the voice Nicole was doing. I'll send it to Steve, and maybe he can repost it on TikTok.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. I'd also love to hear what Infinite Tyler had to say. Did you have any quotes from him or just a 1-star review?
No, well, this is 3 out of 10.
Oh, that was kind of him.
Saying, is Raph the showrunner, I'm guessing?
Yes.
"Careful, Raph. Someone might accuse you of making the Wheel of Time." By now, anyone still watching is either a Rafe Judkins apologist rating it at 10 because it's the best Wheel of Time ever, and I question their motives, or masochists like me who are just morbidly curious how many backflips Raph will do to avoid telling Robert Jordan's story. This shit is so much like Power Ranger fans talking
Mhm.
about the showrunners saying, "Oh, they're fucking it up. Oh, what are they doing? Blah, blah, blah." Man,
Mhm.
these people suck. Stop being a masochist. Enjoy life. Oh,
Yeah,
and then there
go ahead.
was one. This is also, I can't read all of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. A 14 paragraph
Jesus. Okay.
review.
Okay, I can not hear that. That's fine. But
This
yeah, what?
is this is one thing they say. Oh, wow, this is maybe like paragraph 10. One season and 40 minutes into episode 6, and we finally get Matt doing Matt stuff and kind of acting like Matt. This is actually good, which means we can't have more than 30 seconds of it, and Raph is about to do something colossally stupid.
That was somebody besides Infinite Tyler, right?
No, that was Infinite Tyler.
Oh, okay, okay, good. Yeah. I was talking to like a Wheel of Time, not talking, commenting back and forth with a Wheel of Time person whose name was Tyler, and they were not a lover of the show. And we were having a good-natured argument, you know what I mean? And
Dude, this it
somewhere in the conversation, I was like, "You're not by any chance Infinite Tyler
okay.
on whatever?" And he was like, "No, why?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, just look him up. He has a lot to say about Wheel of Time as well."
God, if it were, I would be flabbergasted.
I was really hoping it was. It was not.
You'd have to say, "Please do not listen to my podcast."
No, I mean, I'm all are welcome, James, even Infinite Tyler. I'd love for Narg to give me a review sometime, but I don't even think he's listening. But
I
yeah,
bet I could
yeah.
convince Infinite Tyler to enjoy this show by listening to my wonderment and awe of it, just like I did with Ninja Steel, just like I did with Mil Muertes to
Mhm.
Sean. I love this shit, and I'm infectious, baby. Call me an STJ.
Which is a
Sensually transmitted James. Actually, it
oh.
should be love. So I guess it would be an ATL? An orally transmitted love?
Yeah, that sounds about right. ATL. I
Yeah,
do know that like if anybody goes back and listens to our season 1 recaps, you're very on board with it even back then.
yeah.
So you've always been infectious about Wheel of Time, and let's get right into this recap of this episode 6, Eyes Without
Yeah.
Pity.
Yeah, brother.
All right. First off, this the title of the episode, Eyes Without Pity, is a chapter title from the first book, um, Eye of the World, and it's not only is it one of my favorite chapters, but it's also a basis of one of the songs that I did. Because this original chapter, Eyes Without Pity, is about Egwene and Perrin and Elias, and they're on the run, and they're on the run from like a flock of crows that are like the dark eye. The dark one is using the crows to watch them, and they're trying to avoid the crow's eyes. So I wrote this song and I called this long-winded title. We ran from the crow's eyes all afternoon, hiding under trees and foliage until sunset when we finally escaped. And you're in that song, James. You don't know it, but you represent the crows because I use your voice. I'd speed it up. I play it backwards, and you represent the crows coming in and out. So, so I wrote this. I did this song like about a year and a half or 2 years ago. So I'm already torn to this episode and this chapter just based on the based on the title itself.
Did you know when you see a bunch of crows, there's gonna be a murder?
So in this case, Eyes Without Pity, I believe, is referring to Rena, who is training Egwene as a Damane, and that's how we open the episode here: is Egwene as a Damane with her Adam on. Rena comes in there, and we know that she cannot hurt Rena, who is like her trainer or whatever. As long as she's wearing that Adam, there's like this force field that Egwene can't do any hurt to her. And the Adam cannot be removed by whoever is wearing it. So that kind of implies that, it's not just, Rena that could remove it. Just the only person that absolutely cannot is Egwene.
Mhm.
She appears kind here at first. She talks about cultivating a friendship with Egwene, and she has like really kind eyes when she's talking to her, but she still has this undercurrent of like, don't make me hurt you. You got to tell me your name, or else I'm going to have to hurt you. And then she allows Egwene to keep her name. What a kind bastard she is, huh?
Intro void. Sounds almost nice. I don't see why I can't let you keep it. That's me as an A&R or an AR, an artist and relations.
You're not gonna make me change my name to the Jolly Fun Ones or anything like that?
You wanna know what? Steve Barnes, that's pretty in, people just doing real names. You a country man.
She is at the kennels, that's what they call this place, because Egwene asks where she's at, and Rena tells her she's at home, but we find out later these are actually the kennels, which a kennel doesn't sound like it'd be a home for a human. This leash and bracelet combo is left in the room with Egwene for, like, further torture. Rena leaves it there in the room very ostentatiously, and we find out when Egwene gets close to it, like, her body, like, twists up all crazy and, like, her equilibrium is screwed up, and she throws up.
Whoa, you mean her gun kata is screwed up?
Gun kata. What?
You seem like you are a dad and of the age that you might have seen the movie Equilibrium.
Never even heard of it.
Okay, there's a lot of gun kata in it.
Let's see. Loyal tells us at one point that if there's anybody that could survive being a Damane, it's Egwene. He says that that there is steel underneath her sweet exterior. Um, and we do start to see it. She undergoes this torture test now with the jug of water. This is the way they train their Damane, is they have them pour water, but if they see the jug as a weapon, they cannot touch it, and the response is the exact same as if she was trying to touch that bracelet thing. Her body contorts. She gets that mind warp. She just can't. It's torture. Torture. Did you realize this is torture, James? This is like the the very definition of.
Yes, it's also to break someone it's also grooming. It's both of these
Sure.
things to make them subservient. And this episode is not like yeah, it's good, but it's not fun to watch these parts.
I know. I agree. I had to watch it 3 times, and watching it the first time was enough for me. I definitely got the point. Yeah, these are tough, and it's thanks to Madeline Madden. She does a great job portraying this torture victim, Egwene. That's who
Mhm.
Egwene is, and I think we're gonna have to, remember that name, Madeline Madden, because it's gonna be coming up in the future. She's gotten a lot of eyes on her because of this episode.
And those
Um,
eyes don't have pity.
yes,
They have jealousy.
yeah. You mentioned they're trying to break her. You know that she's broken, or I should say that the other Seanchan will know she's broken when she can handle that jug, pour water, and if she's just able to handle the jug, basically, she's
Mhm.
broken.
If I were in this situation, I would ask, "Hey, I'll do whatever you say because clearly I can't get out of this situation. As
Right.
long as you make this not this apparatus around my neck not actively cut into my neck. Make it flat. It doesn't need to be a turtleneck. Just make it a normal like make it a necklace that all of a sudden like wraps around me and confines me. That's fine. But I just the thought of it, just if I need to crack my neck like this, it's gonna cut into my bottom
Yeah,
jawline. Ugh.
exactly.
Oh, I hope Leandrin doesn't get one of these on. Her jawline's just gonna tear right into
Oh my
that.
God, you're right. Um,
Or
yeah.
her jawline so defined smashes right through it.
Oh, yeah. I think she's like one of the only Aes Sedai that could escape this thing. The other blue that
Yeah.
we see later, no
Crimson
dice.
Chin, if he got one on there. I hope you know who that is,
I do
Steve.
not.
I was like, your son might have watched Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh yeah, he did, but I didn't really at that point. I wasn't really paying much attention to Fairly Odd Parents. It
Dang
didn't
it.
didn't crack through. I'm sorry.
It's a good show.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm going back. Another way that Egwene is being tortured, not just physically, it's absolutely psychological torture. But one of the weird things is that her prison is heavily guarded, but it's completely visible to anybody that happens to walk by. There's a scene
Mhm.
of her looking out the window and there's people just strolling past and she can like gaze at this tree that's like right outside her window.
It's
Unfortunately, Rena takes notice of that.
it's so depressing. That part specifically of I can see outside, but
Mhm.
outside isn't that great besides this tree in the middle. I guess that's an allegory for what she is in. She is this beautiful thing that should be out and about and
Right.
thriving, but she is stuck here. Holy shit, there we go. It makes sense, but boy, oh boy, it's even more depressing.
Uh, I remember what I was gonna say before, that Rena and the Seanchan have absolute 100% trust in this Adam device. Like, it seems like it's completely foolproof. Like, she
Mhm.
turns her back on Egwene, she leaves all the stuff in the room with her. Um, Eventually, when she does get broken, she absolutely trusts, the situation. So it seems like it's a foolproof device. And we find out from Rima that it's actually the Aes Sedai, the White Tower, that created this device because it's like
Oh
an
no.
angriel from the old days. It's like the same as the angriel that Nynaeve walks through because there's all these sacred objects that are scattered throughout the land. This is one of them, this Adam thing, and the Ascension, once they got their hands on one, they were able to mass produce it, send it overseas to their slaves, and they could make a whole bunch more of these things.
Oh, what is this thing called?
It's called an Adam. It's spelled like Adam,
Oh, okay.
Adam, but it
I
has
th
like an
I
apostrophe
th
somewhere in there.
For some weird reason, I thought you were saying an angry L.
I did say angriel. An angriel, a definition of that is like a magical object.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Adam is an angriel. I'm
I thought
sorry
it
that I said that without explanation.
I thought an angry L was a, Legally Blonde subplot.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna switch gears just real quickly. Could you define, Taviran if asked?
Taviran are what the 5 from Two Rivers are, right?
Right, right. But how would you describe that to the layperson?
A naturally charismatic individuals that others are drawn to that bring a warmth and trustworthiness.
Did you pick that up from the show, or is that from me explaining it to you?
Mainly from what you have told me.
Because that's the reason I'm bringing it up is because this is something else that's been brought up is that they haven't really explained what Taviran are. So a lot
Mhm.
of people who are watching the show in the Facebook group who haven't read the books just don't know what Taviran is. Almost right down the line. So I was wondering where you stood with that.
If if I had no information from you, I would assume Taviran are individuals who are just like drawn together, kind of like soulmates, but soul friends, and that's it. I would be like, they're people who are destined to be together to, I guess, further the wheel within context of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, you got it either way, James. You're ahead of the curve because some people just had no idea. Like, are they from Tarvalon? I think that's what you asked at one point.
Well, I think that because there is a Tarvalon, I wasn't saying they're from Tarvalon. I thought Tarvalon was what they were, and I'm
Right.
just getting the wrong things mixed up because these fucking fantasy writers could put down 80 syllables together, but they love doing the same shit.
All right. Egwene is we see her later on and she's communicating with her neighbor next door who is we find out later is one of the sitters of the Blue Aja, one of the high up, so therefore more powerful Aes Sedai. But she's been completely broken. She's completely out of it. Like she won't even answer a straight question. She just keeps repeating these, catechisms over and over again. Egwene is bad towards the end of this, she gets harder and harder to look. I mean, this is hard to watch, but for me in particular, like with my eye situations, like seeing like her bloody eyes
Mm.
and just how banged up she's getting, that she gets harder and harder to look at as it goes, especially those red eyes. That's what really
And
gets me.
the woman is emphasizing like, hey, you're not a woman, you
Mhm.
are Damane, and it was I was getting a lot of sexual tension, one-way sexual tension, but my guess is I'm seeing that of her saying, "Wow, if I'm partnered up with this Damane, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to fucking wreck house." I think it's more of a status thing, but
Yes.
I don't know. The director probably should have said like, "Hey, maybe tone it back a little." But if I said that to say this, it felt very much, "You're special, babe. You're not like other women." Well, because you're Damane, but again, you're not like other Damane.
I mean, yeah, you're right. She wants to be paired with Egwene because Egwene is so powerful. Sure. And we kind of get the gist that she can feel when Egwene starts using the power, that she can feel the power as well. So she
Mhm.
really gets off on that. So it's like status, first off, then the feeling of that power. I think it's twofold because I get the sense that Rena is not a full Soldam yet. Like a Soldam is
Mm.
what you call them. Because we see those other Soldams walking around with like the blue tattoos on their face. They like half their face is tattooed blue. And Rena here has the beginnings of those tattoos. She has the outline, but it hasn't been completed yet. So I think she's in training as well.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and hey, if I can break her, I can break any.
Let's okay, here we go. Rena eventually leads Egwene to Channel by taking her to the window, showing her the tree, and tricking her into like feeling the roots of the tree, then encouraging her to burn that tree. Burns down right in front of us, which I think accomplishes a couple of things. Rena gets to feel that power, and y- first off, she gets to feel it and enjoy it, but she also gets to kind of get a gauge of how powerful Egwene is.
Mhm.
And then she also gets to burn one of Egwene's favorite things to look at. Because Egwene loves looking at the tree for comfort, so let's burn it down so Egwene doesn't have that anymore. It's further breaking her.
It also shows, if we go with the allegory that I brought up before, that the tree is also her. The tree is being broken just like she is now. And this
Yes.
specifically,
Yes.
this moment was first I said, why'd they burn the tree? But now I see, but then I wrote down, oh, honey, she's never gonna love you. Because how she's looking at it are just these longing eyes of passion.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was on, when Corwin and I did This Movie's Gay every week,
Mhm.
he would always say, I watch everything with a queer lens. And I think that he broke me to be like, yeah, James, anything can be queer, okay? Just look at everything through that, and maybe you'll have a little more enjoyment in things.
I wanna put a bookmark in that because I'm glad you said that. I wanna bring that up later in the episode. So thank you, Corwin. I'm with you. Okay, here's what I wanted to go into before we move forward. She burns the tree. Egwene and Rena, according to Rena, share this great moment. So Rena thinks this is the perfect opportunity. She's like, "Yeah, I've done it. I've broken Egwene," so that when she believes that now Egwene can pour the water. So when she doesn't pour the water, this is when we see like Rena's true colors come out. Like she's super like I guess she's not just disappointed, but she was I guess her hopes were brought up and now her hopes were brought down even harder.
Steve, can you re-edit this to have Cyndi Lauper's true colors in the back?
Absolutely. No problem. Um so she leaves pissed off again. When she comes back and goes through the last, pour the water bit with Egwene, she gets so pissed that again, this is parallel to my show Dark because there's a lot of hangings that happen in Dark and there's a lot of neck scars. Um, she hangs Egwene here by the Adam, choking her. And I believe this is what finally breaks her is like the fear of death. And Egwene is finally able to pour the water at this point.
Mhm.
But then Rena just immediately pours that stuff right back out like a total bitch, and Egwene is just left. we know that she's broken at this point. Haven't gone through anything else besides Egwene, but at this point, at the end of the episode, Egwene is apparently broken. And I like the way that when this episode, we're going to talk about the rest of the characters in the episode now, but the way this episode was designed and the way all the action like came to an apex at the exact same time, it was masterful. That's why this got such a good review as well, because you had this stuff happening with Rand and Lan and Moraine and now Egwene, and just all the action and everything just comes to an apex real quickly. And we're left totally confused with all of our characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, did you have anything else about Egwene before we move on?
One was, of course, she's going to want to rebel. This is when, like, she was shown the power. She's gonna say, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna give you this power. I'm gonna save it for myself." And I maybe I am strong enough to break these shackles, which she's not. But still, you showed her the power that she can wield. You shouldn't be alarmed or surprised that she wants to rebel more.
Yeah.
And then the ending was, this episode was tough to get through.
Yes. Agreed there too. I think we said that before. We'll emphasize it now. It was tough.
Real quick, you were talking about like hangings in media.
Oh yeah, not fun yet. Yes, hangings, yes.
We watched this movie from 2011, 2012, depending on if you are going with the festival circuit or when it was released to the public. It's called Detention, directed by Joseph Kahn. He's a music video director, which all the biggest music videos are generally this man. So it's this insane, just if you grew up in high school from like 2006 to 2013, this is an abstract, like, just metaphor for the feeling of high school during this. And I was explaining that to Nicole like the day or two after we watched it, and she's like, holy shit, this movie just got even better. But there's a scene, it's a like very dark comedy and sci-fi horror. The main character is having this shitty day and just in the middle of the hallway says, well, and she's dragging a stool and a rope, and she just hangs the rope in the middle of the hallway and hangs herself. And then like you see three people, like the bell rings and like three people walk past her, not even like noticing. And it's so good, guys. Watch Detention.
All right, yeah. I mean Caleb went to school at that exact same time frame, so I feel like I have to let him know about this. Hey Caleb, watch some people get hanged. This would be great.
It's just one person and it's themselves.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next folks. It's Rand. We open with Rand tied to the wheel under the elevated gaze of Lanfear. This was a shot that was shot for symbolism. I think this would make a very nice poster. But if you were to ask somebody what the Wheel of Time is about, this image like pretty much wraps it up. It's about Rand being tied to the wheel, which represents his fate, under the watch of the darkness. And that's basically what the Wheel of Time is, like here in one image.
He also looks a lot like the Twisted Metal dude.
And that they were going for the Twisted Metal look. Rand is calling her Lanfear now, which she doesn't dig that. She's like, I'm not Selene to you anymore. We learn about his chosen name, or like his original name, Luz Theron Telamon, which a lot of people will call him LTT or just Luz Theron. Do you remember who that dude is?
Yeah, I remember him from
The Winter Dragon?
Yeah, that.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, because we're going to get to a very similar scene about that. But yeah, that dude is supposed to be, Rand years and years ago.
Man, in retrospect, that's the sci-fi pilot, right?
Yes.
in retrospect, now that we've seen season 2, that one fucking sucks so
Uh-huh.
bad in great ways, but also in terrible ways. Boy, oh boy, anyone who saw season 1 of Wheel of Time and was like, "Oh, we should have got the sci-fi version." No, it sucked.
It made me feel very uncomfortable and weird. It just had real weird vibes about it. Weird direction. Anyway, we learned that Lanfear thinks of Rand basically as that dude, Luz Theron. And
Mhm.
she's protecting Rand. She says she's keeping Ishmael out of his dreams. Rand should say thank you, but he doesn't. He says, "Why should I trust you?" Um, she answers that later on. But for right now,
Wait, no, she says, "What makes you think you can't trust me?" And then he motions and
yeah,
looks towards being shackled, and she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah," then unshackles him. That was very funny.
it was. Yeah, and he is here because like this is the first chance she's had to talk to him as Lanfear, addressing him as Luz Theron. This is what she's been waiting for this whole time, basically. So that's why she got all dressed up for the occasion and got a little
Luz
haircut. I like her short hair here.
Luz Theron sounds like a deep South man just fucking up someone's name so bad. Luz Theron. It's like, what is this really supposed to be?
I always thought lose sounded like loser. Like that's probably what the kids in the play yard would call him. Hey, loser. That's, I mean, you know.
Who's the Theron? Charlize Theron. It sounds like if she had a brother named Luis. Oh
Yep.
yeah, you know that Luz Theron.
Well, yeah. Before Lanfear got cast, this is Natasha O'Keefe we're watching, and obviously she's great. She's great in other stuff too, but she's wonderful in this. Before she was cast, the same Wheel of Time Facebook group that I'm part of, the TV series, there's a lot of fan casting going on about who should play Lanfear. I think I posted like at least on 3 different occasions different pictures of Natasha Leggero saying
Hmm.
Natasha Leggero should absolutely be Lanfear. So when they got Natasha O'Keefe, I was like, close enough. I mean, she kind of looks like Natasha Leggero a little bit too.
Hmm. Well, what's this Facebook group? Should I join it?
Absolutely, yes. Wheel of Time TV series, and yeah, I bring you up constantly. I post on it daily. Sure, heck yeah. Because I don't even know if we're Facebook friends. I don't want to be Facebook friends with you, James. I like
Oh,
it how
yeah, I
we
don't
are.
think we are.
I like being
No.
Instagram friends with you.
I mean, it is time to, it would be nice to like tag you in things, you know?
Yeah, I guess we can be friends.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
find you in, I'm just gonna like troll your posts.
Oh shit. You should because half the time I'm talking about you. Okay, they're talking about their past lives, and I was recently watching something involving Mormons, and Mormons have this belief that it's the same souls that are reincarnated on Earth over and over and over again, which is kind of the same thing, the same belief in this world as well. That like Rand and Lanfear and Ishmael are just reincarnated. Well, okay, I should take that back. The Forsaken have been, imprisoned for this whole time, so they've just been languishing in prison. But these other characters have been, reincarnated time and time again. And the Mormon faith, of course, like is like the apocalypse is coming, so everybody's got to get ready for the apocalypse. In this world, we have the last battle. So that's supposed to be kind of like our version of the apocalypse, is like when the last battle happens. Except we hope, the outcome is that not that the world ends, but that the light prevails.
I am real quick. I'm trying to join this group, but they ask me.
Oh, right
They're
now?
yeah, right now.
Okay.
They're asking me.
Oh, you got to pass quizzes. That's right. We'll do this
Yeah.
later,
Well,
James.
one of the questions is if you could change the final outcome of one of the characters in the book, who would it be? Can I just be like, I've never read the books?
Yes. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Omar, there's a guy named Omar who runs that site. He's the main moderator. There's other moderators, but Omar is the one that I talk to the most. He's great. He's probably the one that's going to read your responses. So if you are just completely honest, it's totally fine. You could just say I'm the sweet child of time guy that Steve keeps talking about.
Nah, he won't know.
Yes, he will. I'm
It's been
famous,
submitted.
James. So Rand remains trusting of his friends. He tells Lanfear here that she'd never be able to turn his friends. Um, Lanfear points out that Moraine is controlling Rand, which is interesting because Ishmael says that he is controlling Moraine. So if Ishmael is controlling Moraine and Moraine's controlling land, that means Ishmael is ultimately in control by that logic.
Mm-hmm.
But her one condition, she tells Rand, because she's promising that she's going to help him out and keep Ishmael away from him. She says, you got to stay away from Moraine. You got to leave that woman. So Rand wakes up in the real world, sees Moraine standing there, and like, Moraine, later. I got to get away. Lanfear says, get away from you. Moraine objects. She reminds Rand that, that she has been helping him and she's been helping Logain, and that Logain and Rand need to train together, all that jazz. Rand runs out of there anyway, and Moraine looks straight up unhinged in that last scene. Like, she's
But
lost everything.
This was the plan.
You mean like the bad guy plan?
No, this was their plan in the previous episode. Go to sleep and make her think that you're in her hand.
Right, but then the plan was not for Rand to run away and leave Moraine forever at that point, though.
But it needs to be convincing.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we don't see where it goes from here, and we know they're going to meet up eventually.
You gotta start thinking like a TV writer, brothers. Think like, okay, well, we're not going to show it in this episode, but clearly that's what's gonna happen. He's not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm actually I'm throwing away all my morals and whatnot just to find my one friend. No, you need to find all your friends, and you're still in with Meringue because Meringue still has your interests in mind. But oh my god, well, he won't even be able to leave.
All right, we're going to switch over from Rand now over to Matt. There's a quick scene with Matt here at a block party in Karheen with men. A wild party. They're cosplaying. There's somebody cosplaying as Trollops. There's a dude that gets a beer bong in the street. We see some fire jugglers, some sex workers, and Matt just loves this chaos. He loves this party scene. Men, not so much so. She seems a little frightened by what's going on around here.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Well, because if she opens her eyes, she just sees possibly people being murdered.
Probably every single one of them. All right, next scene is Nynaeve and, let's see, Nynaeve and Elaine. They are hiding out from the Seanchan in Faldara, and they're arguing about their situation, pretty hardcore. They're arguing so hard that Basan can hear them from down the block. They're hanging out in the home of Rima Sadai. And, well, I shouldn't say the home. I take that back. They're hanging with Rima Sadai and her warder Basan. The only reason that they're in Faldara right now was just to check out the Seanchan and report on what's going on with them. But now they're in hiding, so Rima can't exactly show her face around town.
Mm-hmm.
She recognizes Nynaeve's belt and knows that she's a warder. And so, like, when she pulls out some elderberry, everybody,
wisdom.
she knows it's a calming drink. What'd you say?
You said a warder. She's a wisdom.
Oh, she's a wisdom. Yep, that's right. Thank you. Nynaeve's indeed a wisdom. She assumes that they're runaways from the tower, Rima, that is, because why else would these, two novices be on the other side of the world? They explain what happened to them, and they expose Leandrin's dark friendness to Rima here, and that she's in the Black Aja. So Rima is taken aback. Like, anytime anybody brings up the Black Aja at this point, it's kind of like bringing up like I don't know, Frankenstein's coming. Like, it's actually real. Frankenstein's a real person. Yeah. And he's got a whole bunch of henchmen coming. Like, the Black Aja was just a legend that happened thousands of years ago. So people finding out that it still exists is like a shot to their confidence, I guess.
This is a clip you can make, Steven. A meme, if you will. It's Black Aja, then cut in that Christmas time M&M's commercial. They do exist. Then Santa faints.
Yeah, I like that. Great. Okay.
Because that's how this was playing out. She's like, the Black
Yeah.
Asha, so they do exist.
Nynaeve and Elaine standing together for Egwene. Even though they disagree with everything else, they do agree that Egwene rules and they got to help her. So speaking of Leandra being a dark one, we cut to Leandra now. She's
A
visited.
dark friend, not a dark one. And again, let's use dark friend lax right now. I still
Alrighty.
think she's a turncoat for the dark one.
Sure, but she has definitely taken some dark oaths. She visits her son here, and they are visited by the long-haired Lanfear. Like Lanfear grew her hair back for this scene, which I like the long-haired Lanfear better. The short hair was cool, but I prefer long-haired Lanfear. She finds Leandrin's dreams and fixations interesting, so she likes to hang out in Leandrin's dreams. Lanfear claims to be helping her sister Leandrin here by ending Eludrin's life. She says this is something that, Leandrin couldn't do, so just step aside. I'll take care of this. It doesn't seem necessary. I mean, I guess I understand what she's doing here, but it does this without permission. Doesn't seem like Leandrin's ready for this to happen. This is also tough to watch. Not as tough as Egwene, but it is tough to watch.
I wrote down, what a good friend, killing her son and all.
She's trying to get Leandrin on her side, and she says something really interesting. She says, this is how we know. Well, we already know that Leandrin's, given some dark oaths. But she says to Leandrin, you gave yourself up to the dark, but remember, there are different paths in the dark that you can take. Interesting stuff. Like she's trying to steal Leandrin from Ishmael.
And it is brought up, hey, why did you make an oath to a man? You don't like men. And the last time you like bowed to a man was when you were married off before you were even of age. Right, and that's why you have this child. That answers like, well, wait, so she was in love with someone? No, the only man she's ever been in love with is her son, and that's it.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you brought those things up because I didn't make those notes. So that gives us the whole 360 on that scene.
So I still have faith in her. And this is a huge turn from even episode 1 of season 2. I'm like, I think she's doing something good. Obviously, going at the dark one as, hey, we got to take him down from the inside, opposed to, hey, all this political bureaucratic bullshit. Please edit that. Now we can't because I made a ding dang note about it. But I love what she's doing if that is what she's doing. If she's just like, oh, I want like power, fuck you. But I have faith in her now.
Yeah, remember last episode we were saying that Lanfear and Leandrin are the most likely to turn from dark to light.
Mm-hmm.
So here they are working together. I like it. One lady I do not like, not one bit, is High Lady Suroth. We go to the Seanchan next, and she's acting like a bitch host. She sucks so hard that I almost gave her like the least favorite of the episode. But she's just, I don't know. She's awful. She has all her sycophants come to her, and she likes to gather the attention of the room. And she sees Loyal come in. So she's like, well, here's a chance I can, impress everyone with my slave. So she has Loyal do some tree singing. I was so afraid, James. Going into this, I was so afraid they were going to botch this up and that was going to be goofy or something. But I like the way they went with this, with the Gregorian chant and like the low bass rumbles.
Okay, Steve, please edit it to make it messed up. When he like inhales to start singing, insert this. Oh, say, can you see? And then just cut it there, and then like the plant grows.
Yeah, did you see where my suggestion was that Blink 182 song? I have no idea because it's Adam's song. That's why I chose that dumb Blink 182 song for him to be singing. Remember the time that I spilled the cup of apple juice In the hall. That's what I think Loyal should be singing there instead.
Why that song?
Because it's Adam's song, like the Adam that Egwene has to wear around her neck.
Oh, okay. I thought that was called an angry hell. Like, James, stop it.
All right. Well, Suroth, we're going back to Loyal now. When Suroth sees how everybody's like entranced with Loyal, and like like you said, the plants are responding to him. Um, Suroth sees everybody's amazed by him, but she has to turn all the attention back to herself. Like, don't clap him, clap me, yay! And
Real
pretty much
quick,
dismisses him. Yes.
she was having like they were laughing at him sort of for doing this amazing feat. Like, oh, look at this nerd playing piano like so well, better than Beethoven.
At first, they were laughing at him, and then they
Okay.
all like kind of like dropped their act and were like, "Whoa, this is really cool." And that's when Suroth was like, "Oh, come on, pay attention to me now, everybody party."
One of the guys was screaming, "Oh no, he hit the brown note," and he started leaking in his robe.
Well, she dismisses Ingtar and Loyal just as servants. Ingtar gets to check this out, so that's cool. Ingtar gets like a front row seat to like Loyal's tree singing because nobody has seen this before. So, Ingtar gets a shot of that. They're plotting though. They're behind everybody's back. They're plotting to get that horn and to get out of there. And it seems like it's going to be easy because the Seanchan are so trustworthy with their slaves and their in everything. They're so confident in their strength that they don't really guard things that should be guarded,
Mhm.
except for their slaves. Their slaves they do guard really well. And Ingtar is like, we might have a hard time getting Egwene out. Loyal's like, I don't care. We're getting Egwene out.
Let's blow the horn and that will help.
Well, this is not quite the time to blow the horn. To
Why
just
not?
the horn being blown, it requires. They're going to explain this, I'm sure, in future episodes. But
Okay.
there's a bunch of requirements that come along with blowing the horn for the heroes of the horn to come. Like
Okay.
like the dragon has to be present. The
Dang it.
dragon banner has to be present.
Dang
Um,
it.
but I mean, those two things alone. If the horn's blown, they're like, okay, where's the dragon? You don't have the dragon? We're getting out of here.
And Dragon Banner is Bruce Banner's son, correct?
That's exactly right. All right, so now we're going to get back to Ishmael and Min. They discuss the deal. He says that he wants Matt to leave with Rand, and if she can make this happen, then he'll take away those visions of hers. So we remember the vision that she had with Matt of Matt, stabbing Rand, or it looked like he was stabbing Rand. So now we're hearing that Ishmael wants Matt to go with Rand. So it kind of seems like those two situations tie in with each other. Like
Mhm.
I mean, on one hand, it's like, why do you want to pair up these two best friends again? Because, you're just pairing up strength with strength. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I kind of foresee some stuff that's going to happen. So it'll work to my advantage.
Yeah. I know it's because everyone wants her powers to be able to see the future, but
Hmm.
just find your Professor X who will make you little glasses who will shield the visions, then you can see everything else like
Hmm.
Cyclops had for his laser beams.
That would be a great idea, but yeah, we're talking about Angriel a lot in this episode. Angriel were created by the Aes Sedai like thousands of years ago. Nobody has been able to create any new Angriel like since that time for like at least 3,000 years. So there's not new like magical devices being created because people can't do that anymore. They just don't know how to. So that's the reason that they can't do something like that right now. Hopefully in the future they can start mass producing some stuff, but right now, no go. All the
Well,
production is down.
the Academy created an Angriel when she didn't win for Maleficent. Elle Fanning, that is.
An angry L. James. All right. I'm moving on to the land now. We're going to where Lan is traveling with Alane, Maxim, and Ivan, and they're traveling to Tarvalon, I suppose. They're stopping at some Forsaken ground, and it's kind of double fold. Like Lan is like, "This is a strange place to stop. Why are we stopping here?" Find out later it's because they actually think that he is on the dark side, but he tells them that, he's trying to visit the Amarillan. Well, first off, he tells them that the Forsaken are way more powerful than Aes Sedai, and that kind of sets their hackles up a little bit. And he's talking about how he wants to see the Amarillan. Where's the Amarillan at? We know because he wants to talk about the Dragon Reborn, but he gives, an excuse that they're not buying because they have found that poem, and based on that poem, they assume that Lan is now a dark friend,
Mhm.
which is kind of a big twist. I was not expecting that. I didn't even put that together. That them finding that poem and because last episode they found the poem and they were reading it, and we were distracted by watching Lanfear, and it just didn't dawn on me that those three would make the conclusion that they think that Lan is a dark friend. Did did
Yeah,
that did that occur to you?
no, because I would think of that as, "Oh, shoot, they know some shit," opposed to, "Oh, they're working in cahoots." I would come at that saying, "Hey, what the fuck do you know, and why was this in there? We need
Right.
to know what's going on because it seems like, important information we should be aware of."
They're I think an interesting point they make here. I can't remember who makes it, but they say that what you are willing and not willing to do will change depending on what you're facing.
Mhm.
It's another one of those great quotes from Wheel of Time that just keep me enamored. A fun thing. This is really fun, and I hope we get a DVD deleted scene. They faked having sex so they could fool Lan into leaving. So they sat in the tent and, pretended that they were getting it on. And I would love to see a deleted scene of like the three of them in there, like, okay, now let's start making the noises.
Which for these 3 seems difficult for them because once they start faking sex, they're like, I'm actually
Oh
kind of
yeah.
into this now."
Woo.
Then they say, "No, this is for the light, okay? We need to stay focused."
I'm sure Ivan kept them on track. He seems like the most square of the three. So
Mhm.
I'm sure he was stay focused. Just pretend to like it, Alane. Don't actually like it.
Or they said, "Alana, we cannot possibly fake this. You need to create a spell that will just a prestidigitation, if you will, that will just make the noises happen."
All right, I'm switching back over again. Lots of switching, James. Switching to Rand. He wakes from his nightmare here, and he has the nightmare, which is the same nightmare that lose Theron Telamon back in that Dragon Reborn, that he lived when Luz awoke, and like after the breaking happened, when he actually woke up, he looked around and he had killed everyone that he loved in his madness. So Rand is having this exact same dream where he wakes up. I mean, he doesn't wake up, but he has these nightmares where he has killed like all of his friends. And we see like Matt has got like he's cut across his eye with an eye missing again. That's the second time they showed that. Lanfear shows up though, and this is just like a little pretend game that she played with them, because it shows Ishmael, but then she just Lanfear shows up after Ishmael, and she just easily makes Ishmael disappear, which makes me think that wasn't actually Ishmael at all. That this is all like
Okay.
a Lanfear dream, right?
That's a nice way to take it.
I think so anyway. I just think that was just a ruse. And especially because she called him Ishi, like, she was being really dismissive and, just straight up being dismissive to him. The
But
last
that
time we saw the two of them talking, she was not being dismissive of him. She fears him.
It could also be now that she feels like Rand knows who she is
Mm-hmm.
and is now going towards her path. She's like, "Oh, we don't need you anymore. I have the dragon."
She gives Rand a good little trust test here. She allows him to choose to see whoever he wants. Of course, he chooses Egwene. That's predictable. I think Lanfear knew that he was going to choose Egwene, and I think
Mhm.
that works in her favor because she also knew that as soon as he saw the situation that Egwene was in, very predictable, he's going to run to her to save her. So,
It
yeah.
It would have been funny if he chose Matt and she's like, "Wait, what?" And then they go 2 houses down and Matt's just, like, playing dice and he's like, "Holy shit, it's Matt. Hey, I'm in a dream right now. Can you see me?" "You can? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna wake up. I'm 2 houses down from you." She's like, "Oh, no, before you leave to see Matt, I'll give you another. Who else do you wanna see?" And he goes, "You know, she really put things into perspective. Let me see what Min's up to." And it's just like in the other room. "Holy shit, Min! Holy Christmas! Hey, I'm gonna be right there, okay? Matt's there too. Wait, you know Matt? He's my friend. Oh my god, 3 worlds colliding." And then wakes back up and Lanfear goes, "Hey, speaking of 3, do you want to go again?" And he says, "Oh, you wanna know what? I really wanna see what's Lanfear's original name?
Celine.
I wanna see what Celine's up to." And she's like, "God damn it, that's me." And he says, "Yeah, but not the real you. I wanna see Celine." And then she just turns profile and he says, "Celine, you're here too?"
I'm liking your version, James. I want to give you a director's chair. I mean, please.
Sean and I want to do this show called The Dumbest Booker, where Sean presents storylines in wrestlings that had promise, but through booking just failed miserably. Because in previous episodes, he's like, "I wish James owned or managed a wrestling federation just so I could see what wild shit he would present." And that's like, I take the failed storyline and I say, "This is how I would book it because I am the dumbest booker."
They're shopping the Halloween franchise around right now to different people. So it's going to come into some new hands soon. Maybe you can snatch up the Halloween franchise and Jamesifies it.
Man, 90% of Halloween fans would hate me.
That's true.
5 would be indifferent, and the other 5 would say, "We found him. We found our man."
All right, I'm switching gears back to Fal Dara now. We're going back to Rima and Nynaeve and Elaine. Rima has one of those Adam things, Adams, however you want to say it. It's an Angriel as well. So they can practice opening it here. So she got it, I guess, from one of her other sisters because she mentions that she came with 3 other sisters. 2 were killed, 1 was taken. The one that was taken is that blue Aja sitter that's in the cell next to Egwene's. We
Oh,
don't
shoot, I know a dude who could help them.
who?
He has a specific set of skills
Okay.
because they were taken.
God. So, okay, yeah, the 2 that were killed. I guess she got the Adam off one of the ones that were killed. That's where I was trying to get at, is that she got this Adam somewhere.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Heather's probably just like paused this and said, "He's back, baby."
James is back. All right, so Elaine and Rima have the power that they're able to wait, are you are you trying to interject?
No, I'm pulling out my hair because
Okay.
that's just what I do.
Well, I'm used to that by now, but you had a look on your face like you were about to say something.
I know, I'm just smiling.
Yay. Okay. So they're gonna use the
Oh,
power. Oh, yes, there
not
we go.
because of you. I have a Sam and Max screensaver
God
on.
damn it. Please like me, James. Like me. Come on. All right. Elaine and Rima are trying to use their power to inspect this Adam thing, and they can only use a little wee bit at a time to stay hidden. They need just a little bit more. They need Nynaeve. Come on, Nynaeve. Give us a little bit, please. So Rima kind of talks her into it, and Nynaeve, sure enough, can channel, but she gives a huge blast by accident, which in which is terrible, but it's also good in a way because she learns, like, when she was able to make contact, she pretty much learned how to do it almost immediately. She says it needs to be healed. The only way it can be healed, though, is if it's whole. So it has to be on a person in order for it to be healed. We can't open up this bracelet just as is. It has to be on a person for us to open it.
They look at the warder and they say, "Come here, come here."
Take one for the team, buddy. Well, he does later. Holy shit.
Oh no.
So,
There was a line that the Yellow Aja says to Nynaeve that it was like, you need to grab it, you're caving to it or something, or was that something Lanfear said?
no, that was her. She was talking about
What was the direct line, if do you know?
No.
It was just real good.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. She said something along the lines of like, you don't think about it, you just do it. Like you just when somebody needs help and like you're helping an injured person, you don't think about it, you just help them.
That's it's the later on
Oh.
thing, which I had that specific written down, but she said something like, "Hey," when Nynaeve was scared to channel, she's like, "Oh, I can't do it." I believe she says, "Hey, all you need to do is grab it. Right now you're cowering to it." Or maybe I feel someone said it. Let us know, people who watched this 4 times.
Yeah, okay. That was not Rima that said that. But yeah, like that big blast, Basson knocked on the door real quick to let them know that like, hey, you got found out. They're discovered.
And I really liked this because in D&D or RPGs in a fantasy realm, there are identify spells where it's like, oh, it's a magical item, but there's just question marks on it, and you need to have a scroll of identity
Mhm.
generally to find out what it is. And that's what they did. They straight up cast an identify spell, and I was like, they're getting pretty RPG on this.
Absolutely. So, all right, here, yeah, they're discovered. So what they decide to do, they being Rima and Basson, is they decide to go out and face the Seanchan to cover for Nynaeve and Elaine because they're just looking for somebody that can channel. So
Mhm.
Rima's like, they're going to find me. They don't have to find you two. What I need you two to do is to take all this information back to the Black Tower. I mean, the White Tower, excuse me.
Oh, no, you're spoiling things for me. They go
I
back,
saying the wrong
everyone's
color.
Black Aja.
So yeah, she needs Nynaeve and Elaine to complete the mission. So Rima was there to investigate the Ascension. That's the reason that she came, and Nynaeve and Elaine are the only ones that can complete that mission. She gives all of her rings to Nynaeve now. She gives her own ring to Nynaeve with the promise that, she'll retire that ring in the fire at the White Tower. And then she gives her the other 3 rings from the 2 killed and the 1 taken. When she gives Nynaeve these rings, in quick succession, she refers to Nynaeve by her name, Nynaeve. She calls her sister, and then she also calls her wisdom. So she thinks of Nynaeve as all 3 of these things, like herself. She thinks of her as a sister, and she thinks of her as a healer as well. I just thought that was interesting that like all 3 names at the same time. Usually people
Mhm.
just say Nynaeve.
3
Nynaeve
rings, what is this, a circus?
Nynaeve and Elaine we see the last scene of them. They're holding hands. Before they were arguing, but they were united in their love for Egwene. And, here the last thing we see is them grasping hands tightly. And just like I told you last episode, the reason that Elaine likes Egwene so much is because Egwene's basically her first friend. So
Mhm.
it's Egwene's her only friend. So of course she's going to help her. Um, yeah. Now Rima and Basan are going to step outside and they're going to face the Seanchan and they're going to battle. Um, did you have any notes for this, James? Because I don't really have much notes besides the fact that they're taken.
Yeah, that's it.
Really? Okay. I mean, I know she turns that guy into a pretzel, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
And I believe what she was trying to do was burn herself out. I think that she was
Oh.
trying to get all the power she could so she could burn herself out, and she wasn't able to. So then she was like, Basan, just kill me, just stab me. And he's not able to do so either. So she takes the worst way out. She's taken, she's sacrificed. So now Rima is going to be a Damane as well, I guess. No good, James. No good. So we leave Rima with that, I suppose. Did you have any notes for Rima or Basan?
Nope.
Bye bye. Well, maybe not bye bye. Bye bye, Basan. You're definitely dead, but maybe we'll see Rima again. That would be great. For here, we go back to our main woman, Moraine. She is trying to write a letter to Swan, letting her know that she has been stilled, but she cannot find the words. She keeps writing over and over again, but she just doesn't think any of it's quite right. She thinks that she's been stilled. So that's very interesting because I told you a few episodes back that she's not stilled. She's just shielded. And I went back and watched, and that is indeed what they said then. She is shielded from the source, not stilled. But Moraine thinks that she's stilled. So there's general confusion about this. And this is not in the book, so this is open for interpretation. She could think that she's stilled, but she's not. She could actually be stilled. She could merely be shielded. We don't know. It's all up in the air and confusing.
Maybe like allergies, it's all in her head.
Yeah, definitely, man. Just positive thoughts, positive vibes. You'll get through this.
If you think you're not allergic to peanuts and really say you're not, that's
Yeah.
what will make you not allergic to peanuts.
Confidence, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Bart comes into the room. He's got some twice buttered sandwiches for Moraine. He's trying to open her up with the basics. The basis of all all love is food. He's just trying to get her to open up, do something. She completely ignores Barthanaz here and just blows him off 100%. Barthanaz's mom, what's her name? Anavir is in the hallway and she's pissed. So she runs in there to Moraine, like, what? He's making you sandwiches. Do something. Come on. She's like, get out of here. If you're not going to be nice to us, leave. Moraine shoots back and she's like, I'm the eldest sister. So you guys are lucky that I let y'all live here. So fuck you. And Moraine sucks big time here. We can't walk away like a Moraine. I don't know. Barthanaz says that his mother is right, as always. He makes a point to point that out. Barthanaz, this is what I wanted to say to Corwin. Thank you for allowing us to have a gay lens on cinema, because I was under the assumption that maybe Barthanaz is gay, because my gaydar kind of went off on the guy a little bit with his mannerisms and stuff. What I'm realizing now is this guy is basically the same as a princess. Like his role in the family is to be raised up to be royalty. So he's being groomed for marriage. All of his life, he's just been groomed to be the perfect king. So all his mannerisms reflect that. So I think I just mistook that, for him. And plus the fact that he's in an arranged marriage, I just thought that kind of opened the door for him possibly being gay. Might not be true.
Like I said last episode, he's being a nephew right now, and he's stuck in that role, and probably seeing his mom, who he respects greatly, and his aunt, who he does respect so much but never saw her, and he's trying to, like a king would, try to keep the family and the house
Yeah.
in not in line, but like not at fighting at each other's throats. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
Yeah, no civil war from inside. We're a united front. Um, another thing that Lady Annevere holds against Moraine is the fact that when their father died, Lady Annevere was there at the bedside, and all her dad wanted was Moraine. Kept asking for Moraine. So of course that's gonna like, sit with Lady Annevere wrong. I mean, getting personal, I know how that can be because, there's certain favorites of the family. And sometimes the family all gets together and then all everybody can talk about is, hey, where's the favorite? Why, why,
Mhm.
why isn't the favorite here? And, it gets frustrating, especially, I guess, for Annevere on a deathbed. And she's done everything all of her life. And then all her dad wants is Moraine. But then, Moraine is just like her dad after all. I guess her dad was an asshole because Moraine's acting like an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I got that wrong. The mom was an asshole. The dad was like a real sweetie because they say that Barthanes takes after their dad.
But I thought the dad was on his deathbed
Hmm.
asking for her.
He was on his deathbed asking for her because he's a sweetie like Bart and he
Oh, okay.
loves her. It was the mom that Annevere was like, "You're just like mother. You suck." And we're all like, "Yeah." So, speaking of Moraine, her ex warder, Lan, he rides up on the Armorillan seat and joins her. It's kind of a weird scene. After we saw Lan last, he was convincing Alana and those warders, what he was trying to do. Now we see him actually confronting the Armorillan seat, and he's there with her. It's just a real quick scene. It's kind of weird because she's not really heavily guarded, but I think they're just not showing us all the guards in that scene.
Mhm.
She's as guarded as the Pope would be because that's basically her role in this world is the Pope. Um, Rand, however, though, they're all going to get together soon. Don't worry. Rand goes back to Logain to get some schooling done. He's, I'm sorry. Logain talks Rand into showing him how much power he has. And this is kind of weird because, Logain has been stilled, doesn't have the power anymore, but somehow he can still see the power in Rand, which is unusual. He should not be able to see that.
Mm.
Like a normal person looking at Rand at this moment would just see Rand standing there looking weird,
Mhm.
but Logain can see all the power. I think it's a little inconsistent. Maybe we'll learn something more about that later. But what he sees is that Rand has so much power that first off, he's in risk of burning himself out. He's using so much power. But then he also says, with that much power, you can do anything you want. So hell yeah, Rand's got a lot of power. We find out.
And he says, "I want some nephew semis." And he's like, "You can get those. I know a nephew down the street.
I
It's
do.
actually Meringue's nephew."
We should all hang sometime. We're all here in town. I mean, why the hell not?
What do
And
you mean
speaking,
all of us? Oh, you know that person who thought I was laughing at him, but I was really laughing at you? Wait, Matt? Yeah, him.
well, yeah, him. We're gonna go hang out with him right now. Rand reunites with Matt. That's our next scene. We
Oh,
come up
I
on.
thought we were almost done, Steve.
We are almost
Wowzers.
done.
Okay, all
I've got
right. I'm
like,
so hungry.
oh, well, Matt right now is hungry for that money. He's dicing. This is what Matt's known for is dice. He's like a dungeon master. He runs all the games, and so you see him at the head of the table running this dice game, right in his element. But he hears Rand's voice. We get big hugs. We get tears. Rand tells Matt what he's all about and what he's been up to. And Matt is pretty psyched for Rand. At one
Mhm.
point, he does like a little fist bump and he's like, "The Dragon Reborn. Hell yeah." And it's like Matt's definitely on his side. Matt definitely wants to go with Rand at this point and stick with him just simply for the sole purpose of stopping Rand from acting like an arrogant prick. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's always good to have somebody on your side that kind of keeps you straight. Except Matt does the classic thing. I'll meet you at the gate in an hour. I just got to go say goodbye to somebody, but I swear to God, I'll be there in an hour. So that's what we do here. A couple of notes on this scene before we move on is I like that Rand was saying, I'm dangerous for you guys. You guys are all better off without me. And Matt's like, no, that's not true. We're not better off without you. And Rand returns that right back to Matt. He's like, we're not better off without you either. We're better with you around.
He
Sweet.
says, "Oh, you want to know what I've been doing without you? Been locked in a freaking dungeon."
True. Another note here is like Matt turns his back on that table, like he's playing dice at, and those guys like take that opportunity to steal Matt's money when Matt goes to hug Rand, which is pretty great. And yeah, he tells Rand he looks awful. He hates that haircut. Haircut looks bad, Rand. Grow some hair out. So Matt does go off to go find Min, say goodbye to her. He finds she's drinking alone in the house. She looks kind of bummed out. He tells her that he's leaving with Rand, and she immediately puts these things together. And she's like, I don't think you should do that because that's what this guy wants you to do. And I saw you killing Rand with that ruby dagger. Makes total sense. And I wanted to go into a thing about that ruby dagger, but I'm going to hold off till next episode because we are running lengthy here. But basically, Matt is immediately mad at Min because he picks up the pieces quickly, a little quicker than I would have, that Min has been setting him up and lying to him this whole time. And so he thought Min was his friend, and Min is like, well, I am your friend because what I'm telling you right now is that I've been lying to you, but now you can't do this next thing. You know what I'm saying? So she's kind of trying to confirm to him, like, I am in your best interest here. Matt doesn't believe it. So he keeps his distance from Rand, conveniently enough. So next scene, we're getting to Matt and Rand in a second here. Because like I said, the way this episode goes and all the apex of all the action at one time, it's really, it was hard to clock in, James. But here we go. Moraine apologizes to Barthanes at her house. They kind of hug it out, and she says that he'll make a kind, thoughtful king, and his sandwiches are good. Don't worry, I like your sandwiches.
That's all nephews want to hear.
Yeah, but this is a real quick scene because now we're learning that Moraine is being summoned by the Armorillan seat. The Armorillan, now everything is coming to a head. The Armorillan seat calls for Moraine. The Armorillan seat has also called all the other Aes Sedai in the area to come join her there at Karheen, where they're at right now. And the last time they had so many sisters in the Armorillan seat there, they declared a new king. So it seems like they're all there for a really big purpose. Joya Sedai is here. I told you Joya Sedai was going to be in this episode. Now, she was just a background actor. We didn't hear her say a word, but we saw her head for maybe like a third of a second. So she's one of the 14 Aes Sedai that joined up. So we know something big is happening. The Armorillan seat was met by Lan. She called all the Aes Sedai with her. Lan now confronts Rand in town, which, like I said, Matt's conveniently not there with him because obviously what's going to happen is Lan, the Armorillan seat, all these sisters are going to scoop Rand up, which is exactly what Lanfear and Ishmael did not want to happen. They were trying to get Rand to leave with Matt to go on that other journey. Rand has been commandeered, but luckily Matt stayed behind. So Matt's not caught here. So that's basically where we end here. We don't know exactly what's happening, but we know they're all meeting up, more than likely to scoop up Rand. That's where we end this episode, James. Matt's running free. Perrin's out there running free. Somebody please help out Egwene. And that's it. Did you have any closing notes, James?
No, I'm just excited that we only have 2 more episodes left. That something big's gonna happen.
Yeah, I imagine that whole. I hope the Ruby Dagger thing is addressed and resolved. I do have an awful lot of feedback about that, but I'll save it for next episode through the TV group because I just basically asked a question: "What's up with Matt and the knife?" And you'll see on the group because you're part of the group now. I got like over 60 responses, and all of them were pretty solid guesses. But I wanted to go into our worst and our best characters of this episode before we leave, James. I absolutely know who my favorite and least favorite are. Do you know yours yet?
I don't. I only know my least favorite.
Who's your least favorite this episode, James?
It's that lady who is being mean to Egwene.
Renna. Yeah, I like I said, I thought it was going to be Renna too, but I had no expectations of Renna. I know she sucks. I know she's a slaver, so I didn't have any like expectations that she would wow me. My least favorite character is Moraine, the
Oh.
main gal, because she's acting so shitty. And especially with these sandwiches, refusing these nice sandwiches. This dude doesn't have to make sandwiches. He could get his servants to make sandwiches for him. But he's making sandwiches in the kitchen for Moraine, and she should appreciate that shit. Anyway, that's my least favorite, Moraine.
I'll say my favorites are
Mhm.
tied. It's the duo of the yellow Aja and her warder.
Oh, what a nice send off. That's great. Yeah, they'll be happy knowing that. I can totally see that. Rima does rule. I hope we see more of her. I'm giving it to Rand. I mean, I haven't given favorite character to Rand, and he deserves it. He's our guy. I think he's been loyal. He looks great, first off. Looks fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of thirst trap memes out there, people lusting on Rand, and he deserves it. He's always acting in good faith. He's being misled, but he's true to his friends. Rand,
I
you're
would
my
al-
boy.
I would also say Lan this episode of just he's finally coming into his own
Mhm.
instead of just going, "Oh, well, Meringue would want me to do this." No, he's like, "Yeah, this is what's
Yep.
going on and this is what needs to be done."
This is probably the first time in like 20 years he's been able, since he's been her warder, that he's been able to like make choices and, go
Mhm.
where he's not really making his own choices. He's got Alana here with him, but still, yeah, he is choosing his own journey here, choosing his own adventure. But yeah, I think this is going to wrap it up for this episode. We'll get into our plugs now. I don't have any plugs necessarily for this week, but I do have some exciting announcements. Exciting for me is I've gotten in touch with the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Actually, it's called the WOT Spoilers podcast. I've been listening to it for years. It's one of my favorites, and they've invited me to be a guest on. I'm on the list. I'm going to invite James along with me. So I'm very excited to be on that podcast, which has always been one of my favorites. And then one of my other favorite podcasts, which used to be called Game of Thrones 2 Electric Bookaloo, but then they changed their name recently to the House of Dragons podcast. And I've been listening to that again for years and years. And I'm going to be on that podcast as well. And probably within about a month, there's 7 podcasts that are competing in this tournament, a House of the Dragons tournament. And we are one of those podcasts, James. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to join that or not, but Sweet Shot of Time is getting represented.
Hell yeah.
How about your plugs, James? What you got?
Does this come out on October 9th?
Uh,
In 2 weeks or in 1 week?
in 2 weeks.
Okay, hey guys, October 13th, it's a Friday. The single Anal Dentata
Oh,
comes out everywhere, baby. Steve's on it doing a remix. I'm on it because, I made this song and did a bunch of remixes.
yep.
Then we got Crazy 8 the Snape Case, or Crazy 8 the Snap Case if you're nasty. And then you also have Defo, now Murder by Instinct. And I think and then Shane Poppin' Wolf from Horror Crunk Entertainment and
Sweet.
Kill Yourself Productions. He's on the extended. It's 12 tracks, a bunch of remixes, extended mixes. It's a great time. Anal Dentata, Marshland Monster, wherever music is found. Then head over to MLMpod.com, listen to my other podcast. Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, please listen to it. That's all.
Yes.
That's the only plug I'm going to say now. And then patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday and monthly content if you're a $10 patron, and shout outs on my other free feed podcasts.
Heck yeah. Please tell a friend to listen to Sweet Child of Time. I'm not going to tell everybody here because you're already listening. So I'm not going to preach to the choir, but it'd be nice if you would tell a friend or if you would subscribe or do any kind of thing like that. We are at sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com, or just hit us up on Instagram. We're always happy to take feedback. and suggestions for where we're going to go next. Once we finish recapping Wheel of Time and Dark, what do we do next? Help us out. So until next time, James, and to all of our listeners, I hope everyone can always find water and shade. James, may you always find water and shade.
Chips ahoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.